BXB. It's in the game!
As you guys know, many of the guys here at BXB Games are big fans of WWE and pro wrestling in general. So because of that, I've played many of the last few iterations of this franchise, and I'm back now with a review of WWE 2K17. I had quite a lot of hopes for WWE 2K17. I thought 16 really built on the previous year's model. But wow, I'm not impressed so far. I'm not a big fan. Take a look at this interface to start with. It's like super minimal. And it's one of those things that they've done with this that has really pulled me out of the experience. It's really odd. No longer are any images or pictures of real wrestling or wrestlers in this game. Now, what that means is they're focusing entirely on the character models, and the character models are pretty good. But they're not that good, and some of them are definitely worse than others. And what that means is you get this sort of horrible uncanny valley. I mean, just look at those people on the screen right now. It's absolutely disturbing. I would much rather see pretty pictures of characters that look good. Now, let's talk about the suite of modes that we've got in WWE 2K17, because this is another thing that feels like a step back over the previous year. Universe modes in there, career modes in there, showcase is gone. That means no story revolving around nicely put together packages or video or, you know, showing off certain wrestlers over the years. Nothing, no story at all. So what you've got in here instead is you've got a career mode and a universe mode that feel really bare bones, or at least a very little step forward from last year. Actually, I think the career mode is definitely a step back from last year. It feels incredibly clumsy. The interface throughout the game is bad, and they've made this absolutely bonkers decision to have only one form of currency throughout the game. Now, what that means is you could be playing my career mode, you're making up your VC points, and those are used to unlock, obviously, your skills, your attributes, everything to do with your career player. So you want to focus on that. But those points also unlock things like the classic superstars, the classic belts, the different arenas, you know, the stuff you want to play with your friends when you're just messing around or in multiplayer. But because you've also got to use that same currency to unlock things to do with your career mode and your character, you have to make that choice. It's such a bad idea. It's terrible. I mean, it means you can't get everything you want. The wrestling itself is fine. I mean, you know, it's been the same as it's been for a while. We've got a little new mode here, as you can see in this video. Backstage Brawling is back. But why does that matter when there's no real contextualization for it? Yeah, it might pop up in career mode, with the sort of bare bones storytelling that comes up in that, but like, who gives a crap? The fact that they're taking out so many of the motivations for what your player would do in career mode is ridiculous. Last year they tried this thing with cutting like an interview with Renee Young and all the models there, and the voice acting was bad, and it was a cool idea, but it didn't really work. This year we've got this idea of cutting a promo. Cool, that's a fun idea. That could work really well. You can even cut a promo against someone else. Great, you have like dialogue options, and you have a meter to show you how, you know, the swing is going over the crowd, and if you're going heel or if you're going face. Cool idea, but there's no voice acting. There's no voice acting even for, say, an established wrestler like Enzo Amore that you're cutting a promo against. How can you cut a promo when there's no performance? It's the most ridiculous choice I've ever seen. I mean, promos are an integral part of getting a character of a wrestler over to the crowd. Removing the voice, removing the element you would listen to and engage with, and it's just text on a screen. I understand why they did it, because the resources probably weren't there for them to record loads of dialogue. And as you saw in the interview segments from last year, that recorded dialogue they did there with that one terrible piece of voice acting was just, you had to skip it. But at least there was a little bit of emotion. Instead of moving that sort of idea forward, that concept forward, they've gone back. Another element in which they've gone back in this game. Last year they integrated this sort of submission system, this mini game to do with like a lock picking mechanic. Not many people liked it. So this year what have they done? You can go back to using buttons. Another step back. I think the wrestling feels a little bit better and a little bit more immediate, but by taking out the motivations to play, by taking out the fantasy elements that engage you with the universe, with the WWE, you know, the pictures of the wrestlers that sell you on the fantasy that your wrestler is wrestling Triple H, or that you're in the main event of WrestleMania against The Rock, creating those matchups, removing that iconography, removing those images. I don't understand why they chose to do it. Everything feels pared back. Everything feels minimal. I really wish they'd go back and move towards the pageantry and the over-the-top sort of theatre of wrestling. Wrestling is not a sport. It's not a professional sport. Everything is predetermined. I don't want to start ranting and raving at you about pro wrestling. That's not what this review is about. But I just think 2K here fundamentally don't understand what it is about the WWE that attracts people to it and why it's fun to watch and engage with. So because of that, I give WWE 2K17 an incredibly disappointing, and it would be a lower score, but it's, you know, saved by the fact that the wrestling is probably a little bit better than last year. I give this 2 stars out of 5.
BXB. It's in the game.